In February of 1945, the big three, FDR, Stalin, and Churchill, meet for the last time. FDR has just months to live. Churchill's wartime political life is about to be over. Remember, he gets voted out of office as soon as the war is over, and so Stalin's left. But the main questions are going to be: what would be the fate of the countries of Eastern Europe that are occupied by the Soviet Union? How are you going to treat Germany? How would an effective peacekeeping body be created in the terms of the United Nations? Western Europe could do little about the Soviet occupation of Eastern Europe. Stalin promised free elections in Eastern Europe, but they're just words. He wanted sympathetic governments in Eastern Europe as a buffer between him and the West. In reality, he wanted an empire, controlling all of Eastern Europe. Now, initially, Germany was supposed to basically be denazified, reconstructed, and then reunified. But total reunification never happened, or at least not for a while. Germany was divided into zones of occupation. The Americans took one part, the Soviet Union took another, the British and the French both took parts as well. The Soviet Union creates a puppet regime in Eastern Germany. In 1946, Churchill realizes the danger posed by the Soviet Union. In a speech, as I mentioned, in Fulton, Missouri, Churchill describes Stalin's expansion as an iron curtain which separated the captive peoples of Europe and of Eastern and Central Europe from the rest of the world. Ultimately, Stalin wanted the Allies out of Berlin, which was in the heart of the Soviet zone. In 1948, he blockades the Allies' zone of Berlin, and in response, the United States organizes an airlift. It sent everything the West Berliners need: food, medicine, fuel, oil, you name it. If they needed it, the United States delivered it by plane. The only way the Soviet Union could stop the airlift was through open war, and Stalin was unwilling to take that step. The airlift lasted 1 year, and with airplanes constantly taking off and landing in Berlin. Finally, the Soviet Union lifts the blockade. In 1949, the Allies abandoned their goal of a unified Germany and agreed to unify their zones. This later became the West Germany, the Federal Republic of Germany. Later that year, the Soviet Union proclaimed East Germany, what would be known as the German Democratic Republic. East Germany remained a Soviet satellite, and Berlin remained a divided city in the middle of East Germany. To lessen the threat of a future war, the United Nations was created. Its charter went into effect in October 1945. The UN consists of the General Assembly of all member nations and a Security Council of allies: the United States, Britain, the USSR, France, and China, along with a few elected nations that rotated. Along with the United Nations, although the United Nations could deploy military peacekeeping forces, the permanent members of the Security Council could exercise their veto on such actions. The Soviet Union vetoed 103 times between 46 and 64, compared to the 4 or less vetoes employed by the other permanent members.